I remember a few years ago, many financial services companies were trying to figure out how to take advantage of the social media technology hype, beyond using Facebook and LinkedIn. The idea was to implement social media collaboration platforms, both internal and external client restricted. However, it was just difficult to justify the investments for the platform. What's the benefit of a social media collaboration platform? We may intuitively know the benefit of investing in a platform, but what is a quantifiable return of investment? Oftentimes, project managers have ideas for new projects or products, but have a hard time to convince decision makers to approve the project for action. In this lecture, you will learn how to create a business case, the purpose of a business case, and what are the elements of a business case, as well as recommended next steps after creating the business case. Why do you need to create a business case? Business cases are created to help prioritizing projects. As a project manager, you need to clearly outline that the proposed project will have value and relative priority compared to alternative projects based on the strategic alignment with the project goals and the business objectives and expected project benefits laid out in the business case. First, you should include the problem statement and the project goal. This part mirrors the information from the project charter that supplements the section. For example, the problem is that project manager primarily use emails to discuss project issues and share information with internal and external stakeholders. Goal of the project is to implement a social media collaboration platform. Next, include solution options or alternatives. For the implementation of social media collaboration platform, we looked at different vendor solutions, including Jive, Jammer, SharePoint. Preliminary analysis indicated that Jive may be best aligned to meet our requirements. I recommend that you have a supplemental document that includes a detailed analysis for potential options. You can define requirements or criteria that you use to evaluate each option, or keep it simple and just assess pros and cons for each option. Third, you want to include the recommended project or proposed solution based on previous assessment of alternatives. The part also mirrors the information from the project charter that supplements this section. Fourth, you need to include cost and benefit. Cost should include capital expenses and ongoing annual cost. Benefits could include incremental value, cost savings, improved customer experience, or risk reduction. Fifth, this section includes metrics that help to prioritize the project compared to alternative projects. For example, include the break-even point, which is the sales amount that is required to cover the total cost. It's measured in revenue currency or product units. Break-even is measured in revenue currency or product units. Profit at break-even point is 0. Break-even analysis looks at the relationship between fixed costs and variable costs in revenues. Break-even is the time to recover cost. Break-even is only possible if the firm price is higher than the variable cost. The lower the project's break-even point, the more desirable it is to undertake the project. Another metric you should include in the business case is payback period, the length of time required to recover the cost of an investment. The payback period of the given project is an important metric of whether to undertake a project or not. The lower a project's payback period, the more desirable it is to undertake the project. So let's clarify the difference between break-even point and payback period. Payback period indicates how much time it requires for an investment to become profitable. Break-even point indicates how much revenue or units an investment does have to produce to become profitable. Another metric you should include in the business case is the net present value, or NPV. Net present value is a metric used in capital budgeting to analyze the profitability of an investment or project. NPV is the difference between the present value of cash inflows and the present value of cash outflows. NPV is the sum of the present values of individual cash flows of the same entity. Net present value is the value of future investments in today's dollar value. The present values are added together to produce a sum of the present values. The initial investment is then subtracted from the sum of the present values. The result is a net present value. Ideally, the NPV should be greater than 0. An NPV of less than 0 indicates that the investment will actually result in a negative return on investment. The higher the project's NPV, the more desirable it is to undertake the project. Another important metric is internal rate of return, IRR. The internal rate of return on a project is the annualized effective compounded return rate, or rate of return, that makes the net present value of all cash flows equal to 0. It is the discounted rate at which the present value of all future cash flows is equal to the initial investment, or in other words, the rate at which an investment breaks even. The internal rate of return is the amount in terms of a percentage rate that a project can be expected to return for its investments. This is similar to opening a bank account. You would look at the project with the greatest rate of return or interest for the rate of investment. Internal rate of return is an iterative or trial and error process to determine at what rate the NPV will become 0. Stated another way, the discounted rate at which the cash flow equals the initial investment. The higher a project's internal rate of return, the more desirable it is to undertake the project. The final component you want to include in the business case are the next steps. For example, kick off the project with senior stakeholders to review the project charter and identify internal core team and subject matter experts. So let's just recap what we covered. Business cases are created to help prioritize projects. You should include the problem statement, the solution options, recommendations, cost benefits, metrics, and next steps.